Hey everyone. All right, think about a country that has tons of water. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably vast coastlines, right? Or maybe massive rivers. Well, today we're going to dive into the official rankings of which nations truly have the most water, and believe me, the results are probably not what you're expecting.
So let's just kick things off with a quick question for you. Which nation on Earth do you think has the most water area? Your gut might say a giant country like Russia, or maybe Brazil with the Amazon. Or hey, what about an island nation? Lock in your answer, because we're about to find out. Okay, time for the big reveal. Let's start right at the top of the leaderboard with the three undisputed giants when it comes to inland water. And here we go. Wow. You can just see it right here. The winner, and it is not even close, is Canada. I mean, it absolutely dwarfs the other two superpowers on this list, Russia and the United States. It's in a league of its own. To put a number on that, we're talking about more than 891,000 square kilometers of water in Canada. That is just huge. It's an area of water bigger than the entire country of Turkey. And it's mostly thanks to its insane number of lakes, a gift from the last ice age, not to mention its share of the Great Lakes. Sliding into the number two spot is Russia, with a still massive 720,500 square kilometers. Its vast Siberian territory is just packed with countless rivers, and it's home to Lake Baikal, the world's largest freshwater lake. So yeah, a solid silver medal for sure. And rounding out our top three is the United States, with just under 686,000 square kilometers. The Great Lakes give it a massive boost, of course, along with major river systems like the Mississippi. When you put them all together, these three nations alone hold a truly staggering amount of the world's surface freshwater. But what happens after the podium? Okay, this is where the list gets really fascinating, and where some of our biggest geographical assumptions start to get turned upside down. All right, here's the rest of the top 10. You've got some of the heavyweights you'd expect, right? India, China, Brazil, no big surprises there. But take a closer look. Iran at number 7 is pretty unexpected. And then there's number 8, a country that seems geographically impossible for this list. Seriously, how is that possible? A country with zero access to the sea, ranking in the world's top 10 for water area. It sounds like a total contradiction, but the data is crystal clear. And that mystery country is Ethiopia, with over 104,000 square kilometers of water. And this right here is the whole point of this list. It's not about coastlines, it's about inland water. Ethiopia's massive total comes from its many large lakes, including Lake Tana, which is the actual source of the Blue Nile. How cool is that? So this gets you thinking, right? If we kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture, a really clear pattern of dominance starts to emerge in this watery world order. So check this out. The top 10 is basically a showdown between two continents, the Americas and Asia. Each one has 4 nations on the list. You've got Team Americas with Canada, the US, Brazil, and Colombia, and then Team Asia with Russia, China, India, and Iran. This really shows you where the world's major inland water systems are concentrated. And just for another fun perspective, let's zoom in on a regional powerhouse, the Nordic countries. Sweden, Finland, the famous land of 1,000 lakes, and Norway all have significant water resources that rank them high on the global list. They are definitely punching well above their weight. Okay, so for every surprise high up on the list, there are countries that rank much, much lower than you would ever intuitively guess. This is where things get a little weird. Japan, an entire island nation, is only 39th. Egypt, a country literally defined by the mighty Nile River, is all the way down at 62nd. And get this, the United Kingdom, famous for its locks, ranks a shocking 91st. They actually have less inland water than landlocked Switzerland. Just let that sink in. So, after looking at all these numbers and all these rankings, what's the big idea? What's the so what? Why does looking at the world through this lens of inland water actually matter? Well, the bottom line is this. Our mental map of what a water-rich country looks like is often just plain wrong. We're so focused on coastlines, but the true measure of a nation's accessible freshwater wealth lies inland. It's a vital resource that, for many of us, is completely invisible. And that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. As freshwater becomes arguably the most critical resource of the 21st century, how is this map, this invisible geography of lakes and rivers, going to start shaping global power, politics, and our collective future?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.